The real question I'm asking here is the one Marcuse asked in the 60s. How does a way of life break down? How does it break down? And Marcuse doesn't give the pat Marxist answer, which means economically. And we ought to be glad that that pat Marxist answer is false. Because if a society could be driven to ruin by debt, the way a lot of people said the Russians, the Soviet Union fell because it was broke. Let's hope that's not true. Since we're broke, let's hope that's false. As a generalization, we better hope it's false. How do they break down? Well, here there's an analogy for me between the social and the self under siege. In many ways. In many ways, not in a few. And some of the symptoms that we see around us that our own lives are breaking down in the life of our society is a generalized cynicism and skepticism about everything. I don't know how to characterize this situation. I find it no parallel to it in human history. The skepticism and cynicism about everything is so general, and I think it's partly due to this thing I've called banalization, and it's partly due to the refusal and the fear of dealing with complexity. Much easier to be a cynic than to deal with complexity. Better to say everything is bullshit than to try to look into enough things to know where you are. Better to say everything is just silly or pointless than to try to look into systems of this kind of complexity, into situations of the kind of complexity and ambiguity that we have to deal with now. So anyway, that's one way in which a society can break down. My own view of the United States government is that it has no legitimacy now in the classical political sense. That means it is not supported by a democratic majority of its people. It has no classic political legitimacy. I mean, I take that to be an empirical fact. I bet you could probably do a factoid on CNN about it and banalize it. You go, oh, well, big deal, so what? Well, so what? You don't have a damn democracy. You've been lied to since you were born. Well, that's no problem. We're used to it. That's cynical reason at work. I mean, it's just utterly the situation that I think we're finding ourselves in. This skepticism includes the skepticism concerning history, and this has not been a diatribe up here against reason. It's been a diatribe against instrumental reason. Clearly, the uses of a more comprehensive reason to try to figure out where we are would be important and could be used, but there's a general cynicism about it. Marcuse is an old-fashioned guy from the 60s. He still thinks, and I have no way to defend him now. Too much has happened. Too many things have gone wrong. But Marcuse still thinks that human beings as a species have historically accumulated potential. Over history, they've accumulated a potential to live a life with a good deal more freedom, and a good deal more happiness and solidarity than the one they live now. In fact, Marcuse, unlike philosophers, is an unashamed advocate for this project. Philosophers don't enjoy being advocates for any positions that matter, usually, but Marcuse is, in this case, an advocate for this position.